Hi folks, this is Tom. Today I'm going to show you how to tell the difference between a real piece of Boston sandwich Horn of Plenty pattern glass and a fake. If you look, we have two very similar looking pieces of glass here. This is allegedly a Spooner, probably 1850 to 1860 manufacture, and it's in the Horn of Plenty pattern. This is a tumbler, also 1850 to 1860 vintage, and this is also in the Horn of Plenty pattern. Okay, so let's take a look at these. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at the mold seams that are on here. Here we have the tumbler, and if you look, there's a mold seam here, and if we go 1/3 of the way around, there's another mold seam, and 1/3 of the way around is another mold seam that comes through and goes to the top. So this is definitely a three-piece molded piece of glass. Let's take a look at this one here. This is also a three-piece mold, and if you look, this one has much more prominent mold seams in it. They go all the way down through the bottom, through the entire piece, and they're highly visible. Okay, now that we've checked that out, let's take a look at the bottom. This piece over here, this is shiny glass, and it looks like this is made in one solid piece here, and there's no mold seams through the bottom of this, and there's no punty there either. And if you go over to the Spooner, let's take a look here. If you look, you can see 1, 2, 3 mold seams right there. The edge of this is very heavily used, and also this has been polished, highly polished. And in the center, you see where this little divot is? That's called a polished punty. This is where they had a jagged piece of glass where they held this out of punty rod while they took it out of the mold and worked on it. And what they did is after it got cold, after it was annealed properly, they actually ground the punty out and polished this. Okay, so we've looked at that. I'm going to tip these guys over, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the thickness of the glass. This is the fun part here, trying to keep these things from rolling. Picture them rolling off the table here and going splat on the concrete floor. Not very good for your investment. Okay, the Spooner has a very thick rim over here, and the tumbler has a much thinner rim to it. Look of the glass is very different between the two of these. This one here is pretty crude, has a lot of manufacturing imperfections in it. This one here is a lot more highly polished and looks a lot more refined. Okay, now that we've looked at that, this is going to be one of the tells. All of the Boston sandwich glass prior to the Civil War, when Deming Jarvis actually ran the company, it's all what they call Flint glass. It's a roughly 30% lead glass, also known as lead crystal. Let's take and see what it sounds like. Here's a Spooner, and here's a tumbler. Hear the difference? That's a tell. This is the real piece of glass. This is the fake. Spooners are fairly common. Tumblers didn't survive very well, so this is probably a Czechoslovakian 1920s reproduction, which is actually in itself collectible. Okay, let's take one more method that we can use, one more tool that we can use here to check to see whether this is genuine or not. Okay, folks, I'm back. If we take a look at these under ultraviolet light, long wave, you really can't see any difference between these two, but if you put the long wave UV on genuine Vaseline glass, you can see that what happens there. This is a genuine, roughly 1840s, 1850s candlestick from Boston and Sandwich, and this is one of the famous dolphin or Kai candlesticks here, also from Boston and Sandwich glass. It's the same time period as that. If you look, you really can't see much of a difference here between these with long wave UV. Let's go to short wave here. This is a UVC disinfectant lamp. I bought this for $1.99 at one of the local thrift stores. They're not supposed to be sold online, but you can find A lot of these on eBay in the $20 price range. They're a really good tool to have. Again, you're looking for UVC disinfectant lamps, and they all have this type of a quartz tube here. Okay, let's take a look at this. Okay, we turn the lamp on, and oh, look at that. See that beautiful blue glow that's right there? That is lead crystal. And if we go over here, there's nothing. Lead crystal, nothing. Let's nest these two. And also, it's very important not to look at the UV light. UVC is very harmful to the eyes. And if you have a high power source or stare at this long enough, you can actually wind up having to go to the emergency room. Don't ask me how I know this. Okay, we'll fire this guy up here. And there we go. Here's the tell. Czechoslovakian fake, 1920s. Genuine 1850s to 1860 or so. Horn of Plenty Spooner, Boston Sandwich Glass Company. Thanks for watching, folks.